Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and another crazy day on Wall Street. Fed Jerome Powell testified in front of Congress, and what he had to say is causing the markets to drop about 1.5% across the board. This is negatively impacting AMC today, but not in the way that you would expect, considering, like I said, the index is down about 1.5%. AMC sitting down about 2 to 2.5% for a majority of the day today, is holding up very strong compared to what we have seen in the past. And this furthermore reiterates AMC in this bullish pattern. You have flipped the overall psychology, I guess you could say, come down to the price action, comes down to the short interest, about the option activity, and just how AMC moves on these red days has flipped from being super bearish to now being bullish. And yeah, I understand not every day is a 10 to 20% rally, but you can see the overall narrative that has flipped with AMC. Now, on top of that, we're going to get into exactly what Fed Jerome Powell said this morning that is shaking up the markets, and we are going to take a look at the FTD numbers, the Ortex data, the technicals. We talked about those a little bit here in the intro, but there is a lot we need to dive into. And guys, we got much more than that to cover for you. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. What are you waiting for? You want to stay up to date with these videos as well, hit that notification bell. So let's talk about it, guys. Like I said, AMC down about 2.66% as of right now. First thing I want to do is get into some of what Fed Jerome Powell said. So if we... Okay, I don't know what is going on here. I don't know what's going on there. Very strange. I don't know what that was. It says, Fed Chair Powell says interest rates are likely to be higher than previously anticipated. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on Tuesday cautioned that interest rates are likely to head higher than central bank policymakers had expected. Quote, if the totality of the data were to indicate that faster tightening is warranted, we would be prepared to increase the pace of rate hikes, the central bank leader said in prepared remarks for appearances this week on Capitol Hill. Powell said the current trend shows that the Fed's inflation-fighting job is not over. Now, based off of what he said about increasing the pace of rate hikes, that's what is really causing the markets to fall today, and that is actually what is causing, for the first time in a long time, the Fed rate monitor tool to now be pricing in 50 basis points at the next Fed meeting. You totally flip-flopped. As of yesterday, the previous probability was a 71.6% chance of a 25 basis point rate hike, only a 28.4% chance of a 50 basis point rate hike. That went from 28.4% now to 64% chance of a 50 basis point rate hike, based off of these two sentences from Fed Jerome Powell. Now, rate hikes make the odds of a recession go higher, which is ultimately what people fear, and that's the number one thing that is causing the markets to fall. At the same time, as you guys know, it makes the cost of capital more expensive. It puts a lot more pressure on equity markets, especially as you get higher than 5%. It also starts to make bonds look a lot more appealing because it makes bond rates go higher, and I think that is important to understand in regards to AMC, to your overall portfolio. So all things considered, considering the Fed futures are now pricing in this 50 basis point rate hike, which is pretty much guaranteed to happen unless you get a really soft inflation report or really bad jobs reports throughout the rest of this week, 50 basis points is coming. And considering that, AMC holding up exceptionally well here today. And we'll talk about the technicals in here in just a second. But I do want to talk about the Ortex data as well, because guess what? the cost to borrow rates are spiking up yet again today. Not to the 1,000% range that we seen a couple of weeks ago, but you are getting a cost to borrow average now at 248.64%, cost to borrow max 293%, and cost to borrow minimum at 235%. So very high numbers that you are seeing. Interactive Brokers says there's about 1 million shares available, which hats off to you if you're finding 1 million shares after everything that has happened with this stock. I don't think so, right? I think the short interest is a lot higher than 25%, 25.21% to be more specific. Good luck finding that many shares. Cost to borrow rate from Interactive Brokers, 102.5%. For context here, I've pointed this out before and I want to be crystal clear. 20% cost to borrow rates can cause a short squeeze, are categorized as extreme. Over 100%, 200%, 300% and higher are ridiculous, and there's no money for shorts to make a profit. That in and of itself squeezes shorts from those short positions. So there you have that. Like I said, the live short interest of free float sitting at 25.21%, 130 million shares that are currently sold short, and the dollar amount on that is, if we go ahead right here, about $817.63 million. That is up 31% over the last 3 months. So there's a lot more money that's actually in play here that could potentially be lost, and that is what actually helps to squeeze out short positions. I think it's pretty clear. You guys have heard this many times. It's not necessarily the short interest number. It is how many dollars are on the line here. So you are seeing that go up. You are seeing the risk for a short squeeze also increasing. Now, AMC is on the threshold securities list. And why is AMC on the threshold securities list? Well, if you have not been subscribed to the channel, if you don't watch these videos, it might be hard to see, but the failure to delivers are out of this world. For today, March 7th, you got about 5.2 million FTDs on AMC. Maybe that is why AMC is holding up a little bit better. Maybe that's not why the stock is down 5% or 10%, which on a day where Fed futures have went from pricing in a solid 25 basis points to 50 basis points, whenever we've seen that in the past, that has been a good 5 to 10% down day for AMC, for your overall portfolios. That's a very big shift in just a 1 day period. Tomorrow, you have 3.5 million FTDs that come due. On Thursday, 3.6 million FTDs. And on Friday, 1.5 million FTDs. And then next week, you're going to start at 1.5 million FTDs. You're going to go to 1.8 to 2.5 to 3.4. 3.9 and 6.8 million. So every day of next week is going to ramp up into this very large option expiration, in which we will talk about here in more depth in the next video. There's millions of options for that March 17th option expiration, and considering what we got today from Fed Jerome Powell, it's going to make the whole markets more volatile heading into that. Now, with that being said, Fed Jerome Powell does speak tomorrow as well, and that's really going to do it for your overall catalyst. And then on Wednesday, you are going to get the initial jobless claims. That's going to be the next data point that is going to be important for the markets. And then on Friday, you get the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. So Fed Jerome Powell tomorrow going to be important as well, especially if he sees what happened to the markets today and he wanted a bigger sell-off, or didn't want the markets to sell off too much, or there's a lot of different variables that could come based off of what happened today tomorrow, because this is a 2-day congressional speech hearing with Fed Jerome Powell. And that is really the big catalyst of this week. And so far, it looks like he is outlining more and more rate hikes, and potentially larger rate hikes to come, guys. So there is that. A quick look at the technicals. You can see AMC holding in this bullish uptrend, this pattern right here, staying very well intact. So we'll talk about the technicals a little bit more into this video. We'll get, or the next video, we'll talk about the option chain for March 17th, and also take a look at this article, which is contrary to a lot of people's opinions, but you gotta play both sides here. 7 reasons why AMC shareholders should vote yes on the ape conversion. That's an interesting article from the street. We'll get into it in the next video. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.